My name is Emily Hartwell. I'm 29 years old, and I'm sitting in a lawyer's office on a Tuesday morning, staring at a document that says my parents need my signature to survive. I know how that sounds. I know what you're probably already thinking. Why would I help them? Why would I sign anything for people who abandon me? And you're right to ask. You're right to wonder. Because 4 years ago, I made the decision that if my parents ever needed anything from me, the answer would be no. Completely. Permanently. No. But that's not what happened. And the reason it didn't happen is the entire reason I'm telling you this story. Let me take you back to the beginning. I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, in the kind of house that other kids thought was perfect. 4 bedrooms, a wraparound porch, a mother who was always impeccably dressed, a father who was a surgeon. The kind of family that belonged to the country club. The kind of family where everything looked right on the surface. But my family had a structure, and I was born into the bottom tier of it. My little brother Marcus was 7 years younger than me. When he was born, I remember being excited. I was 12, and I thought having a brother would be fun. But when Marcus was about 7, he was diagnosed with a learning disability. Nothing severe, nothing that meant he couldn't function or succeed. But it meant he struggled with things that came easily to me. And the moment that diagnosis came home, the entire family reorganized itself around his struggle. My father, Richard, went into overdrive. He hired tutors. He sat with Marcus every single night on his homework. He called the school. He researched specialists. He turned my brother's learning disability into a mission. Meanwhile, my mother, Catherine, began organizing her entire schedule around supporting Marcus's emotional needs. She was there for every appointment, every setback, every moment he felt discouraged. And I was capable, independent, the easy one, the one who didn't need anything. I remember the year I placed second in the state science fair. Second place in the entire state. I was 14 years old. My parents came to the ceremony, but they left early because Marcus had a meltdown at school that day. My mother sent me an email congratulating me. My father never mentioned it. That same year, when Marcus struggled with a group project, my father sat with him every single night for 3 weeks. I learned very early that my achievements were expected and unremarkable. But Marcus's struggles were crises. His pain was important. His needs were real. And mine were convenient to ignore. So I learned to be independent. I learned to not ask for anything. I learned to organize my entire life around never being a burden. By the time I was 16, I was already doing my own laundry, buying my own school supplies, organizing my own schedule. My parents never had to think about me because I had already figured out how to think about myself. I got a scholarship to UNC. A partial scholarship because I was smart enough to earn it. My parents contributed to my tuition, but they made sure I understood it was a loan. A debt I would owe them. And I did owe them. I paid them back before I paid off my actual student loans because I wanted to be free of that obligation. I worked through college. I graduated with a 3.8 GPA and a determination to never, ever depend on anyone for anything again. By the time I was 22, I had a job offer. By 24, I was on a solid career trajectory. By 27, I was promoted to operations manager. I built a life that was entirely mine. No one's charity, no one's obligation, just me and what I could create with my own hands and my own mind. And here's the thing that nobody tells you about building a life that way. It's safe, but it's also incredibly lonely. I didn't realize how lonely until I met Sophia in college. Sophia was my roommate freshman year. She came from this massive, loud, warm family from Taiwan. Her parents ran a restaurant. She had 3 siblings. She grew up in this environment of abundant love, like genuinely abundant. Her family fought and argued and disagreed constantly, but underneath all of it was this unshakable assumption that they belonged to each other. The first time Sophia invited me to her house for a holiday break, I was terrified. I watched her family dynamically, the way her mother cooked and her siblings sat around the kitchen table, and her father told stories and nobody was performing for anybody. They were just present with each other. Sophia noticed that I was overwhelmed. We were sitting on her back porch and she just said, "You didn't grow up like this, did you?" And I couldn't even answer. I just started crying. Not sad crying, just finally being seen by someone. Sophia became my best friend that day. She became the person who showed me that love could be unconditional, that family could mean presence, not just obligation, that you could be vulnerable with someone and they wouldn't use it against you. For years, she was enough. She was my chosen family. She was the proof that I could build something different from what I was raised with. But then, when I was 25, I made a clean break with my parents. It wasn't one big fight. It was a series of small betrayals that accumulated into a decision. They never asked about my life. They never called to see how I was doing. They only reached out when they needed something from me. A holiday appearance, a family photo for their Christmas card, a signature on some document. And when I said no to any of it, they acted like I was being unreasonable, ungrateful, selfish. The final break came when my father implied, during a phone call, that my refusal to attend a family dinner was because I was prideful and difficult. He said I had always been the difficult one, that everything with Marcus was necessary because I was so independent that I didn't need anything anyway. And something in me just shut, like a door slamming. I told him I was done. No more phone calls, no more emails, no more pretending that this was a relationship. We were done. I was 25 years old, and I severed contact with my parents completely. And for 4 years, I didn't hear from them. Not a word. No Christmas cards, no birthday greetings, no attempts to bridge the gap. Just silence. I told myself the silence meant I was right. I told myself it meant they didn't actually care. I told myself that it proved what I'd always known, that I was always going to have to rely on myself, because other people will always let you down. And I built my life on that belief. I got my condo. I got promoted. I built a career and a routine and a fortress around my heart that nothing could penetrate. If you've ever been made to feel like your needs were the inconvenient ones, like you were the easy one precisely because nobody was paying attention, if you've ever built a life based on the belief that needing anything from anyone is dangerous, I think you're going to understand everything that comes next. If this is hitting close to home, go ahead and hit like. Subscribe so you don't miss where this goes. Share it with someone who's been the easy one. And come back with me now, because the silence breaks on a Tuesday morning, and nothing in my life is ever the same after that. The phone call comes at 9:47 a.m. I know the exact time because I was in a meeting and I watched the clock change right before my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost don't answer it. But something makes me pick up, some instinct, some part of me that still remembers what it feels like to be needed. It's a lawyer, a man named David Chen. He's calling from a firm in Asheville. He explains, very calmly and professionally, that he represents my father in a medical and financial matter. He says my father's condition is deteriorating faster than expected. He uses the word Parkinson's like it's just another clinical fact. He says there are documents that require my signature. He says it's urgent. I tell him I'm not interested. I tell him to contact my father and let him know that I'm not going to sign anything. I'm polite about it. I'm professional. But I'm also very clear. He pauses. Then he says, "Ms. Hartwell, your father is your co-signatory on a trust established by your grandmother in 1998. Without your signature, that trust cannot be accessed. Your parents' financial situation is complicated. This trust is essentially their only path to maintaining their home and covering medical expenses." And I don't care. I actually don't care. I thank him for the information and I hang up. But I don't hang it up cleanly. I hang it up like I'm trying to hang up a phone that's made of lead. The rest of my day is ruined. I try to focus on work. I'm in meetings. I'm responsive. Nobody can tell that something inside me has fractured. But I can feel it, that crack in the armor. The thing I've spent 4 years keeping locked away is suddenly pounding against the door. That evening, I'm in my condo, sitting on my couch, the expensive one I bought myself, the one that nobody helped me pay for, and my phone rings again. This time it's Marcus. Marcus, my brother. The one who I haven't spoken to in almost 2 years. The one who I cut off along with my parents because his presence in my life meant that my parents had access to me. I almost don't answer, but he's sober now. I know he's sober now because Sophia told me. She runs into him at the coffee shop where she takes her laptop to work sometimes. She said he looks good. She said he's in therapy. She said he asked about me. I answer, M, he says. And hearing my name from him, I haven't heard my name said like that in so long. Like it belongs to someone he loves. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, and I'm not calling to try to change your mind about anything. I'm just calling to tell you the truth, because I think you deserve it. He tells me about my father's diagnosis. It's worse than the lawyer said. It's progressing faster than they expected. He tells me about my mother's stroke 2 years ago. I didn't know she'd had a stroke. He tells me about the financial situation. My father made bad investment decisions. The market crash hurt them worse than it hurt other people. They're drawing down their savings. The house I grew up in, the house that felt more like a museum than a home, they're facing the possibility of losing it. They're scared, M, Marcus says, and I can hear something in his voice that I haven't heard in years. Compassion. For them. For the people who focused on his struggles and ignored mine. They're dying, and they're scared, and I think that matters. I don't think it excuses what happened to you, but I think it matters. I don't respond. I can't respond. I'm not asking you to help them, he continues. I'm not asking you to forgive them. I'm not asking you for anything. I just wanted you to know the truth instead of finding it out secondhand. You deserve that. Then he says goodbye, and he means it. He's not expecting me to call him back. He's not trying to bridge the gap. He's just telling me something I needed to know, and then he's letting me go. I sit in the dark of my living room for 3 hours after that conversation. I build my life. I build it on the principle that I never have to depend on anyone. I build it on the principle that my parents failed me, and therefore I would fail myself less. I build it on the principle that needing people is dangerous. But now my parents need me. And I'm supposed to say no. I'm supposed to maintain the boundary. I'm supposed to let them suffer the consequences of their choices. Except I'm realizing, sitting in the dark, that I don't actually know if I can do that. Over the next week, I try to go about my life normally. I go to work. I excel at work. I do exactly what I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do it. I am, as always, perfectly capable. But I can't eat. I can't sleep. I keep thinking about my father's tremor. I keep thinking about my mother's stroke. I keep thinking about them lying in that house, waiting to hear whether their daughter is going to let them drown. On Friday, Sophia calls. "You're doing that thing," she says immediately. No hello, no preamble. What thing? The thing where you make a decision entirely by yourself, and then you carry it like it's made of concrete. You're catastrophizing about something, and you're doing it alone. I can always tell. I don't deny it. With Sophia, there's no point. "Come to my house tomorrow," she says. "Bring an overnight bag. Bring your chaos. We're going to sit with it together." I don't want to. I want to sit alone with my armor and my righteous anger and my carefully constructed rationale for why I owe my parents nothing. But I know that Sophia is right. And I know that I cannot survive this alone. So I drive to Sophia's house the next morning. She has a 2-year-old son named David. He's obsessed with dinosaurs. The first thing he does when I arrive is show me his collection of plastic dinosaurs and explain in elaborate detail what each one eats. I sit on Sophia's living room floor, surrounded by dinosaurs, while her son narrates the food chain, and I start to cry. Not pretty crying, real crying. The kind where your shoulders shake and you can't breathe properly. David just pats my arm and goes back to his dinosaurs. And Sophia sits down next to me and doesn't say anything. She just sits. She doesn't try to fix it. She doesn't try to explain it. She just bears witness to it. After a while, I tell her everything. The The lawyer's call. Marcus's call. The weight of knowing that my parents are suffering and that I have the power to stop that suffering, and that I have every right not to. What do you want to do? Sophia asks. And that's the question, isn't it? Not what should I do, not what are they owed, but what do I want to do? I keep thinking about it. I keep turning it over. Because underneath the anger, underneath the years of hurt, there's something else. There's a little girl who wanted her parents to notice her, who wanted to matter to them the way Marcus mattered, who wanted to be the crisis that made them show up. I realize, sitting on Sophia's living room floor, that I've spent 4 years trying to kill that little girl inside me, trying to make her stop wanting things, trying to make her stop needing people. And it's not working. She's still there. She's still hoping. And now my parents are suffering, and she's hoping that this might be the moment everything changes. That's when my phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. It's from the lawyer. He says he's sending me something. Official documents, the trust paperwork, information about the financial situation. He says he's not pressuring me. He says my parents asked him to send it, but they also asked him to tell me that I have the right to refuse. My right to refuse. Like that's some kind of comfort. I open the email. I download the documents. I look at the trust agreement, my grandmother's will from 1998, back when she was still alive, back before everything fell apart. And then I see something I wasn't expecting. At the bottom of the trust document, there's a handwritten note, in my father's handwriting. It's dated 4 years ago, right around the time I cut contact. The note says, "If Emily ever needs this, I hope she uses it for herself. Not for us. For her. That's all I want now." I keep thinking about what it means to have someone use your love for them as a tool against you. To know exactly which door to knock on because they know you'll answer. To have that person finally admit, in their own handwriting, that they see you, but 4 years too late. I wonder if you've ever been in a room like that. I wonder if you've ever discovered that someone who hurt you was also protecting you without you knowing it. Drop it in the comments if you have. I read every single one, and I want to know I'm not alone in this. Because right then, reading that note, I understand something that changes everything. My father didn't just hurt me. My father, in his own limited, broken way, was also trying to protect me. And I've been so angry at him for so long that I couldn't see it. I don't make the decision to go to Asheville right away. I sit with the note for 3 days. I read it over and over. I try to find hidden meanings in it. I try to convince myself it doesn't change anything. But it does. It changes everything. On Wednesday morning, I call the lawyer back. I tell him I'm coming to Asheville on Friday. I tell him I want to meet with my parents. Not to sign anything yet, just to talk. He sounds relieved in a way that makes me realize he's been carrying this weight too. This stranger has been holding the tension between my parents and me, waiting to see which way I would fall. I spend Thursday preparing. Not emotionally. I'm not ready for that, and I probably never will be. But practically. I print out copies of the trust documents. I read through the financial paperwork. I understand the numbers. I understand exactly what my signature would mean and what my refusal would mean. I take back control by understanding the facts. That night, I'm at Sophia's house again. She makes dinner, her mother's recipe for braised chicken, something warm and real. We eat quietly. David is asleep. It's just us. "Are you ready?" she asks. "No," I say. "Good," she says. "If you were ready, you wouldn't be doing this for the right reasons." The drive to Asheville is 4 hours. I know this drive. I've made it 100 times in my childhood, but I haven't made it in 4 years. The highway looks the same, the exits look the same, but everything feels different because I'm different. I pass through the mountains. I pass through the towns where my parents took us on family trips. I pass the exit where my father once pulled over because Marcus was having a meltdown in the back seat, and he sat in the front seat with his hands on the steering wheel, trying to breathe, trying to be present for a crisis that had nothing to do with me. I arrive at the house at 2:15 p.m. on Friday. The house looks smaller than I remember it. older. The paint is peeling slightly on the front porch. The garden that my mother used to maintain obsessively, it's overgrown now. There's a ramp on the side that wasn't there before. A ramp for my mother, I realize, so she can get in and out of the house. I sit in my car for 11 minutes before I can make myself go inside. My father answers the door, and I have to consciously remind myself to breathe because the first thing I notice is that he's dying. I mean, I knew intellectually that he was sick, but seeing it, seeing the tremor in his hands, the weight he's lost, the way he moves like he's not entirely sure his body is going to cooperate with what he's asking it to do, it hits differently. Emily, he says, and there's so much in that one word: relief, fear, shame, hope. I don't hug him. I'm not there yet. But I do step inside. We sit in the living room, the formal living room that nobody ever actually sits in. My mother is already there, perched on the edge of a wingback chair like she's afraid to get too comfortable. She's smaller, too. Her left side is slightly rigid from the stroke. When she sees me, her eyes fill with tears immediately. "Hi, Mom," I say, and even those 3 words cost me something. My father begins to explain the situation. He does it the way he would explain a medical procedure: clinical, detailed, precise. He lays out the numbers. He explains the trust. He explains what my signature would enable. He's trying to maintain control by being rational, but I can see his hands shaking. I let him finish. Then I ask the question that matters. "Before I signed anything," I say, "I need to know, did either of you ever think about what you did to me?" My mother makes a sound like she's been struck. My father stops mid-sentence. He looks at his hands. "Every day," he says quietly. "Every single day for 4 years, Emily. Every day." And something in me wants to believe him. Something in me wants that to be enough. But it's not. "Then why didn't you call?" I ask. "Why didn't you reach out? Why didn't you try?" My father looks up at me. And for the first time, I see him clearly. Not as the antagonist in my story, but as a man who has spent 4 years terrified. "Because I thought you had moved on," he says. "I thought you were better off without us. And I didn't want to ruin that by making it about me. I didn't want to be another burden." He got it backward. He got it all backward. He was so focused on not being a burden to me that he became one anyway. By not showing up, by not trying, by accepting the silence as the natural conclusion to our relationship. "I need to tell you something," I say, and I pull out a folder. Inside is the handwritten note he wrote 4 years ago. "I found this, at the bottom of the trust documents. You wrote it to me. Do you remember?" He takes the paper. His hands are shaking so badly that he almost drops it. He reads it, and as he reads it, something happens to him. His face crumples. Not in anger, not in vindication, just in the simple acknowledgement of his own failure. "I don't remember writing that," he says finally. "That's the saddest thing I've heard in years," I say. "That you were so broken that you wrote words meant to protect me, and then you forgot you ever wrote them." My mother reaches over and touches my father's arm, and I see something pass between them. A recognition of their own inadequacy. A shared knowledge that they have failed not just me, but themselves. "I'm going to ask you something," I say, "and I need you to answer honestly. Did you love me? Not do you love me. Did you back then when I was younger? Did you actually love me? Or did you just tolerate me because I was convenient?" My father looks at me like I've asked him to prove he's been to Mars. "Emily," he says, and his voice breaks. "I loved you. I love you. And the fact that you have to ask me that, the fact that I made you doubt it, that's the thing I will never forgive myself for." And I believe him. I actually believe him. And believing him is somehow worse than not believing him, because now I have to sit with the fact that he loved me and still hurt me. That love and harm can exist in the same person at the same time. My mother starts to speak. She says something about how hard it was, how she didn't know how to manage both of us, how she was drowning and didn't know how to ask for help. The words tumble out of her in this broken, desperate way, and I have to stop her. "I don't need your explanation," I say. Not unkindly, but clearly. I need you to understand what you did, not why. I understand why. I need you to understand the consequence. We do, my mother says. We do, Emily, we understand now. I open the folder again. I lay out the trust documents. I pick up a pen, and my father and mother watch as I sign my name on each page where my signature is required. I don't do it because I've forgiven them. I don't do it because I believe this erases what happened. I do it because I can, and because choosing to help someone when you have the power to is different than being forced to help them. I sign my name, Emily Hartwell, 3 times. Each signature takes a few seconds, and with each one, I feel something inside me shift. When I'm done, I close the folder. I look at my father. I say one sentence. I hope you use this time to understand why you made the choices you made. Then I stand up and I walk out. I don't slam the door. I don't look back. I just leave. In my car, I sit in the driveway for 20 minutes. I don't cry. I don't feel triumphant. I feel tired, the kind of tired that comes from carrying something heavy for so long that you forget what it felt like to set it down. He knew. Before any of this started, before I even knew I was hurt, he already knew. He knew that he was failing me. He knew that his focus on Marcus was costing me something. And he didn't just feel sorry for me, he did something about it. He tried, in his own broken way, to protect me. He wrote that note, even if he forgot he wrote it. He carried the weight of his own failure every single day, even when I wasn't there to witness it. If that hits you the way it hit me when I finally understood it, hit that like button. It's a small thing, but it means more than you know. That evening, I drive back to Charlotte. The highway looks different now. Not happier, not resolved, just different. I call Sophia from the road. It's done, I tell her. How do you feel? She asks. I don't know yet, I say. Ask me in a year. She laughs. Fair enough. Come over when you get back. David wants to show you his new dinosaur. And just like that, I'm going back to my chosen family instead of staying trapped in my family of origin. I'm choosing the people who show up for me, over and over again, without needing me to suffer to prove they're worth it. I think about my father writing that note 4 years ago. I think about him putting it at the bottom of documents like a message in a bottle, hoping that someday I would find it. Hoping that someday I would understand that he saw me, even when he wasn't present. That's not forgiveness. That's not redemption. That's just the beginning of understanding that people are complicated, and love is complicated, and sometimes the people who hurt you most are also the people who are trying, in their own limited way, to protect you. 3 weeks after I sign the documents, the lawyer calls. The trust has been accessed. My parents' immediate financial crisis is handled. They're not going to lose the house. The medical bills can be paid. They have runway now. Time to figure out what comes next. I don't feel relieved. I feel like I've done something necessary, and I'm waiting to see what the consequences of that necessity will be. 2 months pass. I go back to my life, work, my condo, Sophia and David, the routine I've built. But something is different now. The armor isn't as tight. The walls aren't as high. I'm not exactly vulnerable, but I'm not completely closed off either. Marcus calls me. Not a text, an actual phone call. I wanted you to know, he says, that Dad started therapy. Real therapy. He's been going for 8 weeks and he's actually doing the work. He's reading books. He's trying to understand the patterns. I don't respond immediately. He's not expecting anything from you, Marcus continues. He's not trying to earn his way back into your life. He's just doing it for himself, because he finally understands that he has to. How do you know that? I ask. Because I'm his son, and I know what his patterns are, and this is different. This is real. After we hang up, I sit with that information. My father is in therapy. My father is trying to understand himself. It doesn't erase what happened, but it means something. A week later, I get a letter in the mail, handwritten. I recognize the envelope immediately. It's from my father. I don't open it right away. I sit with it on my kitchen counter for 3 days. I look at it while I'm making coffee. I look at it while I'm eating dinner. I look at it while I'm falling asleep at night. On the 4th day, I open it. The letter is simple, short, not eloquent, just honest. He writes, Emily, I know you may never read this. I know you may throw it away without opening it, but I needed to write it anyway. I'm in therapy now, trying to understand why I made the choices I made with you. I'm beginning to see that I was so afraid of being like my own father, so afraid of being a burden, that I made you afraid of being a burden too. I taught you that needing anything from anyone was weakness, and I did it because I was weak. I was terrified. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking you to know that I see it now, that I'm trying to be different, that I'm sorry, that I love you, that I always have. Dad. I read the letter 3 times. The third time, I cry. Not the breaking kind of crying, the kind where tears just come because something inside you has finally been acknowledged. I don't call him. I don't respond immediately. But I do something I haven't done in 4 years. I keep the letter. I put it in a drawer in my nightstand and I don't throw it away. That same week, something unexpected happens. I get an email from a woman I went to high school with, someone who was friends with my mother. The email says she ran into my mother at the grocery store in Asheville, and my mother looked broken, but also like she was trying. The woman writes, I don't know what happened between you and your parents, but I wanted you to know that your mother asked about you. She didn't ask me to tell you, but she did. And I thought you should know that someone still sees you, even if you're not in the same room. It's a small thing, but it lands. My mother is asking about me, not in a way that demands a response, not in a way that requires me to fix her or forgive her, just asking, wondering, still carrying me even from a distance. I don't respond to the email, but I do something quietly. I unblock my mother's number from my phone, not because I'm ready to call her, but because I'm beginning to understand that blocking her was as much about protecting myself as it was about punishing her. And maybe, just maybe, I'm beginning to believe that I'm strong enough not to need that protection anymore. 4 months after I sign the documents, Sophia and I are sitting on her back porch. David is asleep inside. It's quiet, the way Asheville evenings are quiet, full of sound, but peaceful. You've been different since you went to Asheville, Sophia says. Different how? I ask. Softer, she says. Not weak, but softer. Like you're finally allowing yourself to be a human instead of a machine. I think about that. She's right. I've spent so long trying to be invulnerable that I forgot what it felt like to just be a person who gets hurt sometimes. I signed something other than those documents, I tell her. I wrote my parents a letter. I haven't sent it yet, but I wrote it. What does it say? Sophia asks. It says that I'm not ready to have a relationship with them yet, but it says I'm open to the possibility. It says that they have to understand that if they want to be in my life, they have to earn it. Not through gestures or apologies, but through consistent, genuine change. It says that I'm still angry, but that I'm willing to sit with my anger and still choose to let them try. Sophia reaches over and squeezes my hand. That's the bravest thing you could have done, she says. I don't feel brave. I feel terrified. But I also feel like I'm finally choosing my own path instead of just reacting to the path my parents didn't choose for me. I mail the letter a week later. I don't hear back immediately, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with waiting. I'm okay with uncertainty. I'm okay with not knowing how this will end. 6 months after I sign the documents, I'm sitting at my desk at work. The same desk where the lawyer called and changed everything. I'm reviewing a spreadsheet. I'm doing what I do. But something is different about the way I'm doing it. I'm not doing it from a place of proving myself. I'm not doing it from a place of needing to show everyone that I'm invulnerable. I'm doing it because I love my work, because I'm good at it, because it matters to me. There's a photograph on my desk now, something I would never have allowed before. It's me and Sophia and David at the beach. We're all laughing at something that doesn't matter anymore. The photograph is proof that I belong to someone, that I'm not alone. I think about the conversation I had with my father that Friday in Asheville. I think about how he said he loved me every day for 4 years, even when we weren't speaking. I think about how love and harm can exist in the same person at the same time, and both things can be true. I think about my mother asking about me at the grocery store. I think about Marcus in recovery, trying to understand himself and his family. I think about my father in therapy, trying to become someone different. And I think about me, about the girl who learned to not need anything from anyone, about the woman who built a life on that principle, about the person I'm becoming now, someone who is learning that being strong doesn't mean being alone. My name is Emily Hartwell. I'm 29 years old, and I finally know what it feels like to be exactly where I'm supposed to be. Not fixed, not redeemed, but real, complicated, growing. I'm not going to tell you that everything is perfect now. I'm not going to tell you that my parents and I have a beautiful relationship where everything is forgiven and we're one big happy family. That's not what this is. What this is, I'm learning to hold my parents as human beings instead of as villains or saviors. I'm learning to understand that they failed me without using that failure to define myself. I'm learning to set boundaries without building walls. I'm learning that vulnerability doesn't mean weakness. And I did all of that by making one choice, by signing my name on documents that could have remained unsigned, by walking toward the pain instead of away from it, by allowing myself to be seen by the people who hurt me and letting them see me too. If this story stayed with you, I want to ask you something before you go. Has someone ever quietly protected you in a way you only understood years later? Has someone you were angry at ever surprised you by actually doing the work to change? Leave it in the comments. I read every single one. I want to know your story. And if you believe that the people who see us clearly, even imperfectly, even late, are worth giving a second chance to, then like this video. Subscribe so you don't miss the next story. And share it with someone who's been the easy one, who's been made to feel like their needs don't matter. Share it with someone who needs to know that you don't have to choose between protecting yourself and staying open. You can do both. My name is Emily Hartwell. I'm 29 years old, and I'm finally learning what it means to come home to myself.